guess I'll just kind of go around with this and as everybody their name, kind of where they're from, names of where you're from. I guess is there like a second mic? Is there a second mic? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll share it. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so let's start with where you guys from and what first made you guys want to create.
My name is Caitlin Beverly. I am the designer of Audacity brand. I came up with my brand. I've always been an art major. I love doing still art, visual art, and contemporary. So I just put my love of fashion and my art together. I kind of make like wearable art pieces, if that makes sense. I'm a very avant-garde. You won't see my pieces like just. It's not gowns and streetwear. It's I make some weird stuff. But anyway, what made me want to create? Okay, so I think it's because I'm such an introvert. That's my outlet of fashion. Like I won't say anything, but I'll walk in the room with a full gold gown, and that's just me. But I like to create fashion because it gives me a sense of communicating without ever talking, because I wasn't really good at speaking. But that's why I create.
About the light, actually. So my name is Tyra Powers. I'm a full-time artist. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then I moved to Baltimore, Maryland. I went to Baltimore School for the Arts for 9th and 10th grade, but I really didn't like art like that, so I left, and then I went to City College High School, and I didn't get back into art till I went to college. So now I create canvas paintings. I'm using wood to create art. I have resin, and I have a shop on Rainmount where it's actually like a photo shop. So we take pictures and we stylize them, we print them out. I have like several printers. So I like the freedom of art. I like being able to do what I want. And at Baltimore School for the Arts, I didn't feel like I could do that. So that's why I kind of left it. And in college, I could just do what I want as far as art, as far as painting, using whatever color I want. It's no wrong, it's no right. So I just love the freedom of it.
I'm so proud of Tyra because Tyra, like 70 years ago, we never talked at all. So she's a complete recluse.
So I'm a man of few words. My name's Da Vinci. My name's Da Vinci, and I own a tattoo shop downtown 112 Clay Street. What got me into art is really, I never really like to do stuff like this, like be around a big crowd and speak. So I kind of dove myself into my work. That's pretty much it. I'm from the Park Heights area in Baltimore. Was raised there all my life. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's sure. I'm Brian Robinson, the Black. I'm Brian Robinson, the Black James Art Show, located 106 North Utah. As far as art, I believe as a creative, it's a God-given gift to create. So I create because I don't want to lose. I want to use my gift, but I don't want to lose it. So as an artist, I feel like no matter how many gifts you have, you need to activate them, you need to make them. You got to do stuff. And my motto is to create every day. So no matter what your passion, your background is, you should do it every day. We got to be the best stuff, but if you put it out there, you know what I'm saying, you are existing and you're creating, you're doing a thing. Born in East Baltimore, so I've been creating since I was a little kid. It's been my escape, it's been the way I create the environments I want to live in and also change the environments I want to live in. That's it, thank you.
Hello, I'm Carl Trogdon of Alexander and Couture. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. My shop is in Phoenix, Maryland. What made me go into design? I think I have always been into fashion because of my mom and my grandmother. They're two very alpha females who love fashion. Anybody who knows my mother knows my mother's not going to just show up to an event just like in some sweats and some t-shirt and some sneakers. So she's always pushed me to be the best representation of her. And now she's my biggest client. And I just love fashion. I love to take fabric and just look at it and think of what I can do with it next. I'm always pushing myself to push the envelope, never trying to duplicate myself or try to make anything someone else has never seen me do. I do gravitate more to European style fashion, and I just love anything that glimmers or shines or sparkles at you. I love it, and I think that's what drives me to do what I do. And I love people. I love dressing people. I like seeing people in my clothes. I like looking at a person and saying, you know what, that might not work for you, but this might work for you. And then I also like pushing people to try and push themselves when they're dressing. That's it.
Hello, my name is Brandy, and the name of my line is Psycho. I'm located at the Motor House off of North and Howard, and my mom and my dad were always into fashion, but I was attending BCC, and my counselor said, you should go to our art school in Philly, and I went for fashion marketing, but when I got there, it was so diverse. So I started, they would make us go to like art galleries every week to write a paper, and I had to do a lot of art. So I started making t-shirts in my dorm room in 2004. And I bought 5 t-shirts back home from Baltimore before I graduated in 2005. And from those 5 t-shirts, that's how my line blossomed. So I went for fashion marketing, but I ended up designing. So I say all that to say you never know how pushing somebody forward could really help them, because if it wasn't for my counselor at BCC, who knows where I would be right now. So that's the journey of Psycho.
Good evening again, everyone. I'm Lene Johnson. My collection is Amorous by Lene. I'm originally from San Diego, California, but I moved out here when I was 12. Most of my background is art. I graduated from Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and I went back to California for my degree in fashion design and marketing, and I've been a fashion designer and a model ever since. So I actually do both. And it's my lifestyle on top of being a mother of twins. That's really all I do. Yeah, right? Just the mom and the designer. So that's pretty much where I got my art from. I've been doing it since I was a little girl, since I was dressing my Barbie dolls. I've been going to school for it, to study it ever since. So this is what I do for my life. That's all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiffany. I'm the founder and owner, creative designer for 22nd and Emerson. And I started my line about 7 years ago when I lost my mother to pancreatic cancer, and I wanted to honor her. My mother really instilled in us to be leaders, not to be followers. Who cares what the trends are? If it works for you, then let it work for you. You know, and she created this safe space at 22nd and Emerson. I didn't drive. A lot of my friends drove. I drive now. But back then, I didn't. So whenever it was time to go out or hang out, it was meet at the corner of 22nd and Emerson. Because my mother welcomed everyone. She's teaching them how to cook. You know, it was their safe space. And I want to honor her in that way and provide exclusive, unique designs that you can't find anywhere, and things that will definitely, you can hand down. The handbags are, I think, the spark for what's to come for 22nd and Emerson. And the one thing that I want people to take away from 22nd and Emerson and what I'm hearing from these other designers, be true to you. It does not matter what anyone thinks of you, because at the end of the day, it is your life and your life to live. You don't have to answer to anyone but you. I don't have to answer for anything that someone may question. And because of that, live your best life. And any idea that you may have for a business, don't let them bury that idea 6 feet under when we are no longer here. One step just takes one step to get started. It takes one person to see what you're doing and go from there. I am in healthcare. I never thought I would be a designer, and I absolutely love it. So if you take anything away from me today, live your best life and answer only to you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Idris?
Sure. Motion athletics. I've been doing this brand for about 4 years. I got started because when I was a kid, of course, I always loved fashion. So being a kid, I was influenced by the great American designers, the Ralph Laurens, the Perry Ellises, the Calvin Kleins, and I like the classic way that they created, especially back in the 80s. So when I design, I create from a space of like the 80s classic like looks, what Ralph Lauren did and what the Calvin Kleins did. But I think just creating from the perspective of great American designers and combining it with streetwear. So that's really the whole idea, taking classic American stuff and combining with streetwear. Although I do have a love for whether the French designers be Louis Vuitton or someone like Yves Saint Laurent, it's still an American thing, like things that are uniquely American classics, like denim, like the way we cut stuff, like motorcycle jackets, things like that, that are very much us, that are very much unique to the way we see fashion. And so from that, streetwear grew from us being young, taking like the polo stuff and turning polo clothes into baggy things and like building the fit from there and putting it on with the J's. And so that was so much of the way like fashion I saw it. And then it got digested by a culture, which is hip hop. And then it became like this huge business. All of a sudden fashion, polo just wasn't selling to the kids in the suburbs. He was now selling to the cats, you know what I'm saying, on the street corners or the breakdancers or hip hop artists or whatever it was. And so it became so big that me growing up and then me seeing it and me being influenced by it, I always wanted to have a voice in it because I always feel like I could say something that's not being said by other designers. Like I could put a perspective on something. I could see I could see something someone else create and I'd be like, yo, it'd be better if it was this way or that way. And just wanting to put a vision out there that wasn't being seen. So that's really what got me into fashion. And the other part of fashion is understanding the business because fashion is expensive and you can lose a lot of money if you're not doing things correctly. So understand the business of fashion.
You all have really great stories. When I was 16, I got my first job at McDonald's, making $3.35 an hour. And because I was 16, my parents wouldn't buy us school clothes. So we had to work all summer for our school clothes money. And before then, we got spoiled. You want these, you want that, But when we had to buy the clothes for ourselves, we understood the value of money. We understood it didn't go as far as we thought it could when our efforts made money. So I started sewing out of necessity. When we first went shopping with our little money that we made the whole summer, y'all, it wasn't enough clothes. I'm like, I'm gonna have a Thursday outfit, a Friday outfit, and a Wednesday outfit. If I shop at Marshall's, TJ Maxx, where can I go? And my mom was like, y'all need to go to the thrift store. That's when I started shopping at thrift stores. I started shopping at thrift stores and I was able to alter clothes by hand that were too big for me. I was able to change the buttons, and in the 80s we had shoulder pads. I was able to make it different and make it mine. So I was able to get my school clothes. And I looked just as good as everybody else. I had my Monday through Friday outfits, and that's how it started for me at 16. About 3 years later, I learned how to use a sewing machine thanks to my sister and my mom, and I got into sewing. I was like, wow. And I don't mean to be offensive to anybody, but when I would look in the clothes, I would see made in China. And I thought, if somebody in China can make this for me in America, why can't I make it for me? So I went and got a McCall's pattern from Joanne Fabrics and tried to make it. And it was a mess based on my standards now. But baby, when I tell you, when I walked into Morgan State University's Greek Step Show and my mint green double-breasted suit I just made with a sewing machine from the thrift store, I shut it down. And I'm serious, I shut it down. And I'm very modest because I'm blessed to be able to do what I love to do for all these years. But because I saved so much money making my suit, I got to splurge on these nasty, nasty black suede slip-ons from Rockman's and Mondawmin Mall. So that's how it started for me. Thank you.
All right. Jermaine, why don't you go to the last? Do you want?
Okay, David. Okay, we're gonna keep this nice and sweet, simple. My name is Jermaine Johnson. I'm from Baltimore. I have a Baltimore-based brand here. I started designing when I was probably in my last year in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like a black punk rocker in Baltimore, one of 10. So that kind of got in my aesthetic and how I design. I went to school originally for shoe design and pattern making. Because I couldn't afford to really take that class, I signed up with BCCC here in Baltimore, became a professional student for about 8 years. I would take classes over and over again, not necessarily for the grade, but I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. So I would do the hardest projects that we were given. We had some really good teachers there. If there's anybody here from BCCC who know, and shout outs to them. From there, I took continuing ed classes at Parsons in New York for shoe design and pattern making. After doing that for about 2 years, I realized that I really had accessibility to do apparel. So my design aesthetic is more or less from the 70s, from the 40s to the 70s. And that's how I design now with a modern twist to it.
Love it. Thank you, Jermaine. So I want to jump into something that Da Vinci said. He said, when you spoke, you said, I do this so that I don't have to do this public thing as far as your art. And a lot of artists and a lot of them here aren't really people, and they'd rather be home painting or smoking a blunt or something, and just paint, but like Tyra was a complete recluse 8 years ago. She wouldn't talk to anybody. She stayed in the corner over there. That was just her thing. She didn't like people. But now, like a 20,000 social media following and around the country doing art, she came out of our shell. Like, I was shocked when she jumped up here. So what are some of your insecurities, as Da Vinci first, anxiety moments? What are those things? So people can kind of know as artists. A lot of folks, the customers, don't know what we go through as creatives. They just think that we're just making clothes or painting and we're just social. A lot of us like, I don't like y'all, but we gotta be like that to make a dollar. So kind of tell them what some of your insecurities are or your issues are so that they can kind of get a glimpse and maybe be more empathetic with you as an artist as to what makes you tick or not tick.
I think for me, like just growing up in Baltimore, period, I think we all been through like a lot of trauma and
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD or anxiety, whatever you call it, but my safe place was for me to just go hide and paint and draw. When I got an tattoo, then that was my escape. You know what I mean? But I got kind of like a big issue with just the public, like there's like a large crowd, and this is my first time doing something like that. I'm trying to get off my body. You know what I mean?
Proud of you.
Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that shit.
Okay. How about you? How did you get out of that shell?
Well, realize that in order to grow, you're gonna have to do a lot of stuff you don't want to do, and that's just what it is. The comfort zone is great, but you're not really gonna get further. And I think just knowing that, like I just have to. Like I had to get up here. I think standing up it lessened my anxiety before, so that's why I stood up and the light was in the way.
I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, of course, I just love to be in the house. I would love to be in the corner just painting, talking to people. It does bring anxiety and you just get nervous. But life, you have to get out there. Like, nobody's gonna find me in the corner. I have to put myself out there. You never know, so just gotta do it. Just have to.
Jermaine, how about you? I would say Jermaine because the last time we had these conversations about 2 years ago, Jermaine, and I'll say it because he said it publicly, but Jermaine went through a cancer issue, and a lot of us didn't know Jermaine had gone through a cancer battle and beat it, and I didn't know what had affected him until we had a discussion several years ago. So, Jermaine, how did you? I know you're a quiet person, so how did you navigate your quietness and your aloneness with having to deal with people? I know, I'm sorry. I should have stopped, but I had to.
Okay, well, now I work as a barber full-time, and I design in my spare time. So pretty much I work 8 hours of cutting hair, 8 hours of sewing. So being a barber actually kind of brought me out of my shell because I had to engage with the customer itself. And it became more of being able to step out in front, being able to conquer the fears that I had of like engaging with people. Even though I worked in retail for 20 years, it's always been hard. But being a barber has made me kind of open up my shell and become a better designer, better artist for me.
Anybody now can jump in. I was just trying to get them. We got love.
I would say, I guess the anxiety comes from when you're an artist, it's like you definitely see a different perspective than what's already presented. And you are kind of like taken back on the perspective that other people give to you. Like they might not like it, or they might really love it, and they might find inspiration in it. But I think it's a very vulnerable place to be, all of us, to have a different perspective. Like you can probably give us one fabric and we can all design it a different way, a different vision, a different aesthetic theme. And that's a scary thing. It is, especially when you're first starting. Because I first started painting t-shirts, and then having a blessed mom, of course, she helped me sew. And I would have never found out that I could, do this without her pushing me and her confidence in me and just telling me to go out there, because I'm not a people person at all. I would rather sit at home and just sew all day and nobody would see my designs at all. But without people saying that it's okay to put yourself out there, it's okay to it's okay not to be like everybody else. And the way that you stand out is not being like everybody else. So you have to do that, and that's where the anxiety comes from as an artist.
Okay. Real quick, other artists here too. Keep your answers kind of short so we can get to other questions too. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, love you. Go ahead.
I think one of the things for me is networking and connecting. Has been used to be a struggle. I'm a people person, so I'm all about introducing myself to people and talking to them. But I think one of the things too is just networking and building that circle of people that you can really confide in and say, yeah, I'm feeling anxious, or I don't feel that it's going to be a successful event. But to have that circle tight to build you up and lift you up, that's what community and gathering is all about. So that's the premise of my show. Make sure that, when you gather, you're innovative and you're supportive. And that has been a struggle, but it's one that I think that we're overcoming for sure.
Next. Robert wants to go.
So creating as an artist is always about risk. From the business side, it costs to produce things. And then you want people to come and buy them. So I have a store downtown, which is a Motion Athletics on Calvert Street. And when I create anything, I have to do a full line of everything. And so you want people to walk in and buy, and you want to show them your expression of it, you want to take photo shoots and things like that, put it on your website for everybody to buy. But you have to also understand that sometimes you can create things people just don't like. They just don't dig it. You know what I'm saying? But you love it. And then you create things that you don't even like, and people love it. You'd be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So it's very much a risk in whatever you create. And then also, like me, because it is a retail space. I create things that I love, and then let's say nobody really wants to buy, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to put this on sale. I love this. This is way, you know what I'm saying? It's not worth just $40. You know what I'm saying? But,
so
but it's hard.
real quick, so that's a great topic. I'm gonna jump in, jump back. But you just said something. How do you guys deal with? Y'all can. I'll answer this individually. Answer. How you want to do it? Like when somebody doesn't like, because I know for me, I take it personal. When somebody does not like or does not let me have my way with my creativity, I feel like it's an insult. And so how do you deal with that? E first. Let me go first. No. Let me go first. Let's start with him first. So how do you deal with like that rejection of someone saying I don't like it, or you can go as well? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
Well, if it's more based on a large amount of consumers, not just one person, but a larger amount of consumers that aren't participating in something that I put out there for them to purchase, then what I do is learn from it. And I say, hey, maybe it's a space where zippers all over the jacket aren't really in, or maybe high collars, or maybe purple isn't, like, cats really not looking for purple this year. So I look at it and I say, hey, where did I go wrong with this piece?
Right.
And I also sometimes I may ask a person, like, what you like about this, what you don't like about that. So the growth, because as an artist, even though you express yourself, you still want to have growth. You don't want to just put it out and be like, yo, they better take it because I think it's dope.
Right.
But you have to understand, like, yo, as an artist, you're developing things for people, for them to love it also.
Right, Earl, go ahead. Go for it.
I don't really, it's like come out wrong. I don't really care when people like my clothes.
Okay.
I like them.
Okay.
I love them.
Okay.
I don't need everybody to like me because I don't want everybody walking around looking like me.
Right.
I'm special.
Right.
And I only want to sew for people who love what I do.
Yeah.
Because when they wear it, they shut me down.
Right.
I don't need a million customers to like me. I can't make a billion pairs of pants, y'all.
Right.
I can only make so many pieces a year.
Right.
And I stay booked. So I'm grateful for that. So for more people to like my stuff, it's like, And another thing is, I hope people hate it. And I hope people like it.
Right.
What you don't want is people not to say anything. They ignore you. Like your creation doesn't matter.
Wow.
So give me something. Give me some kind of response. I'm looking for people to say, nobody don't wear that. That means they felt it somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm communicating with them.
And
eventually, that's going to bring people around. It might not bring you to me, but it'll bring you from your closet, expanding it to be a little bit more creative, to be a little bit more expressive. Because we love to see well-dressed people. Whether it's our taste or not, we love to see it. We like to see the shoe. We like to see the watch, the ring, the pump. Like, we get into that, whether we're into fashion or not.
Right.
And we dress for everybody else, not for us.
Yeah.
So, two things. We do the numbers. I've done the math. I always tell my friends, do the math.
Right.
Like, how many customers do you want? And how do you want to appeal to them without being stressed out? Because you only get 24 hours in a day. If you get 1,000 orders in a day and you can only do 2, you have pissed off 998 people.
Wow.
And now you can't do this forever. Because now you've established a rotten reputation in business.
Right.
So gauge it and be grateful for the growth. Like, we don't have to know everything right away.
Wow.
We can build it and sustain ourselves.
You preaching.
And to piggyback on artists that are really talented, don't have time to network. We're too busy absorbing the world and creating.
So what's missing then?
And I'm saying that because it seems like people hit the scene and make loads of money, and they're half as talented as us.
Right.
Because they network. They have the talking game. They know how to talk to people and get out and do all that. They're busy doing that. We're at home at our sewing machines. We're at home doing sculptures. We're at home cutting patterns. But they out talking and networking with people.
Right.
And hey, if money is your motivation,
so you need both, right?
Make your money. Because the more money you make, the more you're going to have to make. Right. I'm making clothes for the rest of my life.
I'm going to go home and do that right there. All right. Say something. You can't even say. Something else, I've always admired as a kid Earl's confidence because it helped to me being a skinny kid from East Baltimore, trying to find my groove with being a creative. So Earl's sense of confidence to wear a men's skirt in 1998 or 2000, I'm like, what's going on? But his confidence inspired me. So how do we as creatives get into the space of knowing our worth? You know, Earl, I remember as a kid, I'm 18, 19, my first fashion show was in the city, and Earl said something to me really, really early when he said, Stephen, if they're charging a ticket, you deserve to get paid as a designer. I never thought, I just did it because I loved it. And he said that to me, and ever since that point, I always charge people for it. But in most creatives, we forget to make the money, we just love to be creative. So I want you guys to understand that even though we love what we do and we're creative, please pay us. Don't ask for a discount. Don't ask for a hookup. Don't ask for I can market you. I can shout you out. We don't need, because that doesn't pay BG&E or the rent. So we need you to pay and also tip. Nothing wrong with that, because you tip Louis Vuitton and Gucci and DSW and everybody else that you support, and you know, so support your own. But back to you guys. That was a segue, y'all. How do we get into the space of how to know our worth? Like, what do you guys have issues with as far as how to charge, how to price, not giving a discount because it's your homeboy or your family member or wherever that may be? How do you navigate? Because I know Da Vinci always tells me, because I try to help out Da Vinci and Brian and Tyra, and Da Vinci, Donna always tells me, Stephen, don't forget yourself. Make sure you charge us for helping us out. So how do we, I'll start with you, Da Vinci. How do we start off? How do you navigate with how to price yourself or not sell yourself short, or make sure you're getting like you're just value as an artist, because you're creative?
With me, I paint my paintings for me. Like, kind of piggybacking off of what he said, I paint for me. So there's no real set price that I put, but I know once I hear that magic number, and we can start to negotiate a big business. So I'm always going to get what I feel is worth, and I'm just going to keep it, because I paint it for me. Like, that's pretty much it.
Do you ever feel like you aren't getting enough money?
Nah, because like I said, I would just keep
it. Yeah, he said this one of his art. His space has got a lot of art in there. He said, I ain't myself, so they offer me enough money, so I didn't want it. Okay.
With me, my art, my clothing, my art is an extension of me, you know, so sometimes you look at people who make clothing, and a lot of times people over-manufacture, you know, their clothing and have a whole bunch of copies. And when I create my pieces, I start as paintings, and from that, you know, it starts as an idea and as a sketch. So when someone buys into a shirt or a piece of my art, you buy those memories, you buy that
story.
Yeah, so you buy that little boy growing up in East Baltimore trying to find a way out. So you buy all these memories, all these expressions, all these experiences. It's all bottled up in these drawings that come up to these garments that you can wear and create that conversation. So when I do that and I price that and you undercut me on that,
it's disrespectful.
Oh, emotions just, I felt it just there.
You felt it right there, yeah. Yeah, the moment you explain about it.
So when that happens, you know, I kind of take, you know, I'm strong on my prices. So if I give you something, I say, if I put a $40 price on it, you try to say, well, can you hook me and my homeboy up? I'm going to come back for you, no, I cannot. You know what I'm saying? Because you're getting so much from me bottled up in that garment or that drawing. So when I give that to you, you're getting an expression. You're getting a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
personal. Real quick though, I'm gonna segue. So this is Brian's pieces right here, and Brian told me about an hour and a half ago. He said, "Stephen, they're $4,000 a piece." I was happy to hear it. That a black man that I know from East Baltimore is saying his paintings are $4,000, and somebody here can afford that. But I was just happy to hear that somebody that looks like me can say it's $4,000 a piece. So okay, next. I'm sorry. This is segue y'all again.
I know for me, I just recently started to be more secure in my prices, and it's an everyday journey for me. But I had to really realize what it takes for me to make these garments. My paints, the detail, the brooches, the printing, the sewing. It's so much that goes into it. And Psycho is like my second child. It's a very, very
personal,
vulnerable space for me.
Right.
But I had to realize that, you know, God gave me this gift. I have to trust Him. It's okay to rest in our inner dopeness. And, you know, I realized the Psycho is not for everybody, so I just focus on the people who love it and try or do my best with them, and then everything else falls into place. But it took a lot. Shout out to Tony at Catwalk Boutique, because she was the one who helped me. No, she's not here, but she really helped me to get my pricing together.
Value yourself.
Because I was really making garments for free for so many years and wondering why I couldn't survive off of it. So they're getting a one-of-a-kind, custom, special handmade piece. And I have to charge what it's worth in order for me to keep my line going.
Yeah, love it. Go, Carl.
For me, in the beginning, like most people, I didn't have a set price. My price was set on my bill. So if the gas and electric was $300, that's the cost of your dress.
Right.
But
that's real. Keep it gangster real quick for me.
But growing up taught me that you need to, like every other job, set a wage amount that you want to make an hour.
Yeah, gas that you can rent.
So if your time is worth $50 an hour and it's going to take you 20 hours to make it,
it's $1,000.
That's $1,000.
Right.
And that takes the guilt out of saying to somebody, this is going to cost $1,000.
That's a good line right there.
Because a lot of times you feel bad telling even your family member this is going to be $1,000.
Yeah.
But if that's your rate,
that's your rate.
It makes you feel comfortable with saying it out loud and making it make sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a kid apart with it. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. That's a good one. And sometimes I look at a lot of designs that we had. A guy coming recently. He wanted this tracksuit made, and it's a friend of mine, and he wanted it from Rich Fresh, a designer out of LA, and his is like $1,400 for a tracksuit. So I told him, I mean, it's like 5 or 6, whatever the price I was telling him. I was like, it's crazy. You already ordered that tracksuit from online for $1,400, and I said $600, and he would have paid the $1,400 for it. So realizing if we don't charge them, they won't pay it because they have the money to pay. And Earl said all the time, like, just keep, like you're saying, Brian, everybody's saying, just keep your product. Don't sell it. So people, please buy the stuff that we're charging. We ain't just trying to get over on you. And if it's an issue with it, tell us what the issue is, and we can talk about how to make our product better. But don't just kind of sell us short. Anybody want to say anything about that? Okay, cool. All right, so next I'm going to get into, product worth. Where do you kind of guys see? Well, look at you, Earl. Didn't take it back some years. I'm sorry, y'all. Come here, guard. What do you guys want next for yourself out of Baltimore? I know Baltimore's always this town where it's so hard to kind of escape it and deal with the negativity or the crime or whatever that may be that we're here. How do you guys navigate being in Baltimore as creatives and making it work for yourselves?
So I would say, because I did mention that I do like avant-garde, I make a lot of weird pieces, especially with my fabrics. I may make a pair of joggers, but they're fur or whatever it is. I became really discouraged earlier in my career, to where as though like people would see my stuff, they would love it, but you know, it would be like, oh, I can't wear this. Like, I don't know how to wear this, and this is too crazy for me to wear. And this piggybacks off of like the rejection thing. I think in Baltimore, I had to find the people that think like me, find the community that would push me and support me in that way, and have the same type of, like, it's not just, you know, maybe t-shirts and jeans all day. Like, we all of us love to get dressed. So I would say that I would find those people and focus on those people in Baltimore, because a lot of people would say,
and they are here.
Yeah, they are. A lot of people would say, you don't belong here, you belong here, you belong here. But there are many, many people in Baltimore, and you just have to connect with them. And they love fashion, they love the exaggeration, they love the fur pants or whatever it is. You just have to find those people. So.
Okay. Next. Else we go.
So again, I'm from San Diego, California.
Okay.
I would say that coming out here was a culture shock in some ways. And not even in a bad way. I had to learn how to network, how to socialize. I'm not a very social person myself, and it has nothing to do with art or fashions. I tend to keep to myself. But as far as getting to know people and their aesthetic and what they prefer, it's really just about talking and listening and meeting new people and getting to know them and study your client. Get to know your client so that you're able to deliver what it is that they're asking for. So I've had a lot of time to learn I've just put it as a whole DMV culture because there's a lot of different people, different styles, different things go. So as an artist, I'm just open. I'm just able to socialize and be versatile when it comes to everyone else's way of thinking. And as an artist, I can accept it.
So I try to stay open to ideas, open to other points of view. That has helped me grow. I made suits from 1991 through about 2006. And I priced the suits at what I thought my suits should be priced at. And after doing it for 25 years, I realized that I was offering a bespoke suit for 10% of what my clients would have paid. So I was making suits for $250, $350 because I'm thinking, okay, well, the suited country with the oak tree for like $189, well, I'm charging $350. You know, I'm thinking, you know, that's expensive.
Especially, yeah.
But I realized that the men on Silville Road were selling the same suits the same year for $4,000 for the same experience I offered my customer here in Baltimore. And it took me until 2006. I had been doing this for 20 years, not knowing. Like, you got to do your research if you're going to get. This is a business at the end of the day. You have to do your research and realize what you bring to the market and realize what the market would value it at. I was valuing what I thought it was valued at, and I valued it way lower than it should have been. So when I started working at Brooks Brothers in 2006, I started selling suits that were $1,000. Okay, I had never made a suit for over $350, and I'm thinking, if I'm gonna make a suit for $1,000, it has to have crystals, Swarovski, rhinestone buttons, and super silk. Like I gotta spend all this fabric. And men were coming to Brooks Brothers to me to buy $1,000 suits,
off the rack.
4 and 5 suits a day for 7 years that I worked there. And I didn't realize you don't have to do so much. You can just, it's not about the flashiness doesn't make it more expensive. What makes it more expensive is the usefulness. These men were buying $1,000 suits for work, not to get married in, but to go to work. I need a good navy blue suit, I need a good charcoal gray suit, I need a black tuxedo. Give me 12 shirts. So when I realized it was men out there like that, I realized that could be my customer. Instead of somebody who wants to pay $350 for a custom-made suit, where I'm going to get the fabric, I'm cutting the pattern, I'm doing all this work, I found that it was easier, I made more money making suits that way. But I also began to understand the type of person that bought clothes for work and the type of person that bought clothes for special occasions. And the money is in work clothes. Right. Because Brooks Brothers it's not a big fashion house, it's a clothing house. And what I liked about Brooks Brothers is their clothes aren't trendy. You can wear them year after year after year after year. Men would bring their clothes in that they had got, like they would get the navy blue sport coat with the gold buttons, and he would bring his son in. He said, I got this, my parents gave this suit to me when I graduated from college, this sport coat. When I graduated from college, my son graduated from college, I'm passing it down. Those are the kind of clothes I want to make.
Right, last for a lifetime.
Yes, that are standards in our lives.
Right.
Those are the kind of pieces I want to make. I like to make pieces that 10 years ago I wear today, and y'all are like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm making something like the actual outfit. Because I'm really good with picking out nice fabrics, but I'm actually just staying open to the industry and learning about suits. Like I said, I have been sewing suits for almost 20 years and didn't realize my price was low.
Right. So Earl, you said a few times in this, I hope you guys all can chime in this one, as about, you keep mentioning about doing the numbers, knowing the business. And so I think a lot of times as artisans, do you think that the business of being an artist or designer or creative is discouraging, or when a lot of times we just can't figure out how to get from here to here, because it just seems so big to go from the bleachers to the court. So do you think it's sometimes discouraging so they can know what we go through once again as creatives, how to navigate, how to get from where we are to where we went? Because eventually we don't want to keep doing this for pennies. That's definitely not the goal. So how do we get from the pennies to the real dollars?
I think it really starts with discussion. I mean, we don't communicate.
Right.
Like, we don't communicate in our relationships. We don't communicate with each other. Like, just talking about it and being able to share every day. Like, with Jermaine, we tailored together at QG for 5 years, and we just got to bounce ideas off each other every day. Just came out the sky. I was like, wait a minute, you want to do that too? I had a customer pull a gun on me too because her prom dress wasn't ready, but she didn't finish paying me. So, like those kinds of things. It's like, oh wait a minute, I'm not the only one. And then when we talk to other people, we found they had the same stories.
Yeah.
But I think it starts with communication, and I also think it starts with you passing the baton.
Right.
When you see a designer or creative that was you 10 or 15 years ago, pass the baton, help them out.
Right. And you
give them some words of advice.
Right.
Tell them charge more or don't sell it.
Right.
Because we'll give our stuff away.
Right.
We'll do stuff for free. Just to see somebody smile with our stuff on it.
Right.
But that's what I do. I pass the baton.
Right.
Because the baton was passed to me. Real quick story. I started doing fashion shows all over the country because they would fly me in, pay for my hotel room, and I'm like, wow, I'm excited. I'm going to Chicago, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, Philly, Cleveland, LA. Fashion shows year after year, the same shows every year. And a designer that hooked me up, his name is David Berg, rest in peace. He came to me after the show in Chicago. He said, oh, I need to talk to you. He said, you're an amazing designer. Did you see how they clapping for you? They love your clothes. He said, but what did you charge her? I said, I didn't charge her anything. She paid for my hotel, she paid for my flight over here, she's paying for my food, all the food I get to eat while I'm here. I have an open tab at the bar. I'm like, I'm good. And plus I sold some outfits after the show. He said, Earl, I've been doing this show for the past 8 years. Every year she has paid me $2,500 to do her show. And she has bought the clothes for me to dress her staff at her show. And when you come in here with this much talent and you don't charge her,
wow,
you devalue me.
Everybody else, yeah.
I can't have you do this.
Wow.
You need to start charging.
Wow.
He passed the baton to me. So that's why I passed the baton to you. And I passed the baton to other designers as well. Because if you don't know, you don't know.
Wow.
And it's our responsibility as business owners to pass the baton because we don't have the luxury of having parents and grandparents and great-grandparents that own businesses.
Yeah, we're all first generation.
We're like the first ones trying to get it right.
Yeah. I'm changing. Okay, what's next?
Just to piggyback off what Earl said in regards to like passing the baton, one thing that I've started like this mantra myself this week is I have to know the strength that I bring to a table. We each have our own table. But when I'm invited to Nikki's table or Da Vinci's table, I have my own table. So if that means connecting with the designers and bringing my own table and inviting you to that, never forget the strength that you bring to a table and never forget that you have your own. And it is up to you who you want to network and invite with. Just as someone passed that baton or invited you to their table, remember the strength that you bring and remember that you have your own as well.
Next. Da Vinci, when you think about this, we talk this a whole lot as far as trying to get from one place in the struggle that you go to sometimes like that. Trying to make you talk, I know, bro. I know you're looking like this Negro. Oh, real quick, he's opening up his tattoo studio tomorrow, downtown Baltimore. So please say hello to him. Find out it's right in downtown Baltimore, Clay Street, brand new tattoo studio. Right.
112
Clay Street. 112 Clay Street.
Before the heat water grand opening. You want to know about how my struggle was?
Yeah.
I think nowadays with social media, a lot of things became like real gimmicky. So it's not just about the art anymore. You gotta kind of have like a real what's going on in music and people dancing behind paintings and stuff like that. Like for me, like I said, I paint for myself. I just want to paint, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You can meet up somewhere in between.
So how can we help you then? How can we? I said we're all customers here. How can we help artists?
By actually studying our work, like our paintings, like take your time, look at it, break down how much time it probably took us to do, how much material we probably put into it. I've had people offer me a price for one of my pieces that was framed, like one of those frames.
Okay.
And the frame costs more than what you offer.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But we put a lot of time. Sometimes the painting can take
Months.
a couple of hours. Sometimes it can take a couple of weeks, a couple of months. That biggie piece that you saying that I had,
Right.
been working on that for years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the value going to keep going up the more I put into it.
Right.
The more, soul I put into it, the more pain I put into it.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to like take into consideration what we put into what we doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna keep this quick, but I always say that if you're a customer, or even you don't have to be a customer, if you see me trying to start a business, or you see me doing clothes for years, I always say that knowledge is more valuable than buying one of my pieces. If you know how to get a business started, if you know the taxes, if you know what you're supposed to do with your budgeting, if you know something like that, share it with us. Because like we're trying to figure it out on our own. We may talk to each other, but most of the people that I know that design and that start a business, they don't have all of their legal stuff together. They can't answer my questions. So if you have that information and if you have that knowledge, please share it with us. So that's my piece.
And I would say the most that people could help us out with is just to refer us. A lot of times, even my clients will tell me, Carl, I will refer you to my friends because I want to keep it to myself. I think that's like really selfish. And even as designers and artists, we can refer each other to clients. Like anyone who knows me, I'm a big advocate of that. Like me and Earl have been friends forever. And even though we're designers, we have different talents. So somebody might come to me and say, hey, I need a bespoke suit made, and I don't do those. So I'll say, hey, go to Earl. Brandy knows. Like, people come to me and say, hey, I need somebody to do me a custom funky jacket with paint and splatter on it. Yeah, I can do it, but Brandy does it better. Like, I don't want to do everything.
You don't be afraid to share the wealth.
Exactly. So I would really just say, just refer us to each other and to different people.
I want to share something really quick. There's a gentleman here who's a customer of mine. He never asked for a discount. So thank you, J. Wendell Gordon, the warrior lawyer. I know he was expecting it. He didn't pay me for that shout out. I was going to tell him thank you, because a lot of times as creators, we go to people, and because they have a name or some notoriety, they leverage that to their advantage and say, hey, well, man, I'll shout you out. And I've gone his all the time. His alteration will be $500, and he'll send the cash out, whatever over. So thank you for being a great customer. We appreciate, thank you. Being a great lawyer for all those black folks out here, and who's being a customer and supporting us and never asked for a hookup or discount. Thank you. That was a sidebar. I'm sorry, I be shouting folks out. You gotta forgive me for that. Okay, so we're talking about how we can better help you guys. Everybody want to say how they can help you. Anybody to jump in? This is y'all time to let folks know what y'all need.
We all got pieces for sale here.
Hey, there we go.
We can negotiate, we can start somewhere, but pick something you like and we take it from there.
Yeah, and again, y'all, all the art you see around here is their art. So please do not, and commission a piece. It ain't gonna hurt. If you say you don't like, ask them to say, hey, I want whatever, and they can probably accommodate you. So don't be afraid to just say, hey, and don't ask for a discount. There's a lot of art here, y'all. And they got more in their cars too.
Yeah, and if you think that our original art is out your budget, we also offer reprints. Most of them
there you go.
Reprint for a fraction of the price. And it can be on the canvas also.
I mean, I think him selling stuff. This is the first time he ever done this before. I'm proud of him. He talking today. He ain't drink yet. Okay, you guys have any questions for them? Let's do that real quick. Anybody have any questions? Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys. I heard everybody mention that you guys would like information about your businesses, and I'm the Executive Operations Manager for the Greater Baltimore Urban League, and we offer free business coaching for all Black-owned businesses. So I want you guys to go to the website, click on the Entrepreneurship Center, and tap into our our business center, everything that the Urban League offers is free. We offer business coaching from trying to figure out what your niche is, all the way to telling you the right avenues to go to get the right money for your business. So tap in. I heard everybody say that that's the information that you want, and we have it. We're located right on Orchard Street, so like right off Martin Luther King Jr. So tap in. All right.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have a quick question? You have to wrap up in a second for the next fashion show. Anybody else got a question? Anybody? Y'all are quiet. That's cool. That works. Thank you guys for supporting all of our artists and creatives and supporting Earl in this incredible fashion event. The fashion show is up next week. You're all ready to go. Like, all right, 2 seconds out for me. You better walk. Thank you guys again. Buy the art, buy the clothes. Thanks for coming out. Thanks, guys.